I successfully did it, Travis. I caught a Pikachu.
Hooray. I'm
Uh,
proud.
I don't know if you know this, but last weekend I started playing Pokemon Go again with my wife to give her somebody to play Pokemon Go with. She yeah. She got back into it right about the time Remington went off to school. So I figured what the heck, should spend time. Spend
I
some
don't
time.
have a son anymore.
I give it all up. It's time to leave this world to become the best there ever was. No, she played a little bit over the summer. She's got some of the special Pokemon that I'm not allowed to have apparently. So, but this is not a Pokemon Go podcast or any other Pokemons. This is Magic Gathering podcast. I'm Samus. He's Travis. This is Two Trolls in a Brew, episode 136. Value with two.
I told you I didn't
exclamation
change the
points.
number.
I know, and the reason why is because I think this is our third attempt to post a show with this number. So this time's a charm. Yeah, I went back and I looked because I told you like the last time we planned on recording. I'm like, oh, I need to get the last show out, and my head was crazy. I've had I had a month of pretty good on the migraine pain, and then like a month of like I just want to die. So, but I'll take it because now there's some times that I don't want to die. But it is a nasty trade-off.
Yeah, because I remember the last time we recorded, it was like
It was right after your
Guild
really
was
bad
first,
PTQ.
right, and Guild was like first like spoiling.
And here it is. It's like post pre-release and post-release. Like, yeah, it's 100% my fault. We just couldn't make it work. And then when we did have time, I just wanted to sit in the dark corner and cry. And
Yeah, because my schedule changes so much, so it's definitely all your fault.
That's what I'm saying. My schedule changes like crazy.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
really
it
is
does.
how my head. It really is how my head wants me to live or not. And most of the time, not. Subtitle this week is The Swarm. I feel like we're already going to be at each other's throats because I want to punch you in your wiener schnitzel. Just you send me a deck list, I already hate you without even like looking at it very deeply.
Why?
Oh man, it's so angry, so angrifying. What else? What else do we have? Do we have anything else in particular? Have you drafted the set yet? You moderned yesterday.
No, on uh, so Modern was on Thursday this week
Oh yeah, I guess
because
today's not Friday.
right, because on Friday, the first Friday of release, it's always a draft.
Okay, so you did get a
And
draft.
oh yeah, and I have no idea why no one else shows up on Mondays because it's at the exact same time as Fridays,
Just on
and it's just
Mondays.
less people show up.
Yeah.
It's like we had 22 people show up to draft.
Well, it's like last night. I think we had 17 to draft.
Yeah,
And then I had one person put a Facebook question out there today. Is anyone drafting at the shop today for draft day? And I'm just like, draft days have been so bad at the arena. It's ridiculous. Like usually I'll grab Remington and we'll go to the arena for like 2 hours to try to put a draft together and just nothing ever happens. So we didn't even do it this time. And we had one person like ask, and that person didn't go to the draft last night.
neat.
So, well, it was weird. You didn't go last night either. I missed you. Missed you, buddy. Speaking of missing you, are you old today?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow's your old day?
Yeah.
Well, happy into the world as you're going to go out of it. Naked, afraid, and pooping yourself.
No.
No.
Naked, yes. Naked, yes. But I'm also going to be screaming and bloody.
Oh, okay. Fair. Fair enough. Screaming, bloody, and pooping yourself.
Hope. You know what? As long as I get the first three, I'll accept pooping.
Anyway, well, happy birthday then, my friend. I will try my hardest to get this out tomorrow. If not tomorrow, probably Monday. But I've had a lot of people want to know what happened. Did we pod fade? The answer is kinda. Like I just so much stuff was piled on at me at once. I was working really hard at trying to get this MTG Goldfish job. I've been spending a lot of time crunching through arena stuff, and then at reset, and then we have arena magic for the local card shop arena, and it just tore me in a million directions, and my head just was like murder train. So hopefully we're back. Hopefully we're going to be consistent again, whatever that new consistency is. So bear with us.
Yeah, because I was getting worried myself for a little bit. I was like, I don't like talking for an hour at a time, but also like, did we die?
It's like the highlight of your week. No, I don't think we died. It's just like I said, it's such a ordeal sometimes for me to motivate to get some of this stuff done when it hurts. The recording the podcast part is the easiest part. It's everything else that's a real pain in the ass when you just don't want to look at a computer screen anymore, or you don't want to sit in a chair because it hurts or whatever. So, but I'm trying. Well, I'm gonna redouble my efforts, and we're gonna get this going. So, do we want to start with? So, first of all, this is the most interesting time. Is usually the first set after a. Now I made my screen all white by making the Goldfish website big. After a core set and a big rotation, right? The first powerful new set coming back into standard is, in my opinion, usually the most interesting time. And this is where I get the most deck lists sent in. So you sent in a deck list. I've been working with Nathan on again, off again on a deck list. And then Hunter on again, off again with the deck list. I've been filling around with deck lists. I've got a couple of messages put out there. Of course, I'm also working on a deck list for what I can afford in Arena, which is totally different than what I can get in paper. So it's a lot of. I think this is a weird moment right now in standard history. In a month or a month and a half, get a few more drafts under my belts, pick up a few more wins. Things will be different. So we'll see what happens. So let me do some magic while we get your deck list up here on the screen. You can tell us all about it. Go ahead. It's up on the screen.
Yeah, I see it. So basically, I was building this deck, and I didn't know how well it was gonna do. But every single deck that I've played against, which I've played like 7 or 8 different people with different decks, and the only time this deck really fails is when I get screwed on mana. So I put 24 in, which is really high for me. But it starts off with Llanowar Elves, and you got the Stitcher Suppliers to feed the yard twice. You have the Glow Spores to not only feed the yard, but also potentially get mana, like as your next draw, which is great. The Merfolk, which explore, you can either feed the yard or draw a card. And with that guy,
With the Shaman?
no, the Branch Walker.
Okay.
I think I've only ever left 2 cards on top out of all the times that I explored with it.
Okay.
Because my graveyard is just so much more important than drawing that extra creature.
Right.
Now this next card is incredibly counterintuitive to the deck itself.
I would agree. This is one of those cards. I read this at the pre-release, and at least decided for the pre-release this card was not good.
Yeah.
However, I believe that in constructed, this card could be really good.
So that guy is insanely good, which is why I put him in. He does kind of hurt me if he lives, but also if he lives, then it hurts my opponent more. So I'm just kind of like it's that is the definition of a double-edged sword is this
I mean,
troll right here.
realistically, it is a 3 mana 5/5. The turn it can attack,
Yeah,
and potentially, if you say play a land and have 2 other creatures in your hand, it is a potentially a 7/7 trample on turn 4,
right,
or even a turn earlier if you land or elf.
right. So like, well, on turn like I can cast it on turn 2, but then I wouldn't have anything in my graveyard.
Well,
And
potentially, yeah.
but like so I'd have to like basically what I would have to do is like during my upkeep, like the trigger on the stack, discard a creature and then target it. Like I can do that, right?
No.
Okay. So then casting it without a creature in the graveyard and no
Yeah, that
untapped
doesn't work.
mana. Yeah.
So
Um
no, I guess I was thinking you would on 1 elf 2 stitchers, but I guess it wouldn't work out that way. It'd still be 3 that you drop this thing.
yeah. Um but yeah, him on 3 with a creature already in my graveyard and then X amount in my hand. Like the turn that he can attack on turn 4, he can be a 7/7 if not bigger.
Right.
And that's just insane. So I put him in there for the early game, just, hey, you got to take care of this or you're going to hurt so hard.
So
Uh,
when I saw this
Go ahead.
card, I immediately thought Lawlith Troll, I think is what it was
Mm-hmm.
called, and immediately like put this card to the top of my brew list, as it were. So I'm glad that you're kind of already scratching that itch.
Yeah.
So
No, like it's definitely worth it early game. Uh, Even late game, if you get it, it's still a good card. It just kind of hurts the overall undergrowth theme, which
it
I think,
does.
yeah, but I'm happy with it every time I cast it. My opponents are mad with it every time I cast it. So that's why it's a double-edged sword. It hurts me, but it helps, and it hurts them so much worse.
I mean, if you can just use it to win the race, I
Yeah,
think it's that turn. Like if you play this guy and it goes unanswered for 2 turns, you probably already won.
yeah.
So
So the
next, I was
this
just gonna
card,
say,
go ahead.
yeah. Well, I was just wait. I'm trying to step on you again because I figured that would be funny. But yeah, I was
Oh,
just gonna say, the Fine Broker is a 3/4, like the broken little SOB over here.
yeah. No, this thing is like probably one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck.
I would agree.
Just because 4 mana, you get a 3/4, and then get something else bomby back, or at the very worst, you get a land.
So I think that is the part of this card that is different from all the rest of them that I don't know if enough people are getting. 4 mana for a creature that regrows another creature out of your graveyard is not a big deal. Four
Right.
mana for a creature that regrows any permanent is a
Is
big
a
deal.
huge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carry on, my friend.
Next card is Underrealm Lich. Busted
I would
in this
agree.
deck.
I would agree.
Uh, and the fact that you can make it indestructible just by paying 4 life is incredibly relevant. Uh, but the main thing is that draw effect. It's like, oh, I'm drawing a card. Now I'm discarding. I'm throwing 2 in the yard. I don't care what they are. Look at this creature I'm about to get. That's just going to ruin you.
Right.
I love this card.
How do you say this person's name?
I'm saying
Izoni?
I'm
Izoni?
just saying Izoni.
Izoni, okay. I come
Yeah,
close to there, like Izoni.
yeah. Um, Again, just this is I think this is the part of the deck where the Charnel Troll starts starts to hurt me is this one. But again, for 6 mana, you get a 2/3 and X amount of power that can potentially let you gain life and draw a card for 2 extra mana per sack.
Correct.
Like this individual is insane.
I would agree. I said I have some stories specifically about a lot of the cards in your list, and we're going to disagree probably on a couple of cards that need to, I think, come in and some numbers change. But yeah, I think this card is an all-star. It's currently, I think, at like $1 or something.
Yeah, it's dirt cheap.
They're showing it as $1.44. I think MTG stocks is at less than $1. Buy your playset now. People are going to figure out this card is good, and it's. I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be above $10. Probably not. It's just a rare, but the Assassin's Trophy is also just a rare, and it's $30-some. So
yeah,
it is possible that people are going to go, wait a minute, these Assassin Trophies are better, also good in Standard. Oh, and then all the Gogari cards are going to go up.
Yep.
Hatchery Spider.
This is my troll card, and originally I only had one in the deck until I found out how well it performed, and it made me realize that cast triggers are the best thing in Magic.
Yeah, cast triggers are better than Enter the Battlefield play triggers, for sure.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, yeah, my opponent needs to deal with a 5/7 Reacher. Oh, but also before it enters, check out this thing. And again, the undergrowth mechanic is just insane with the supplier and the glow spore. And then the early game creatures that I'm going to throw them away. I won't lie. They're just going to run under buses for me.
Right.
Like
100%.
They're sacrificing themselves.
Well, that's
but
Gogari for you.
One of the games that I was playing yesterday, like in between rounds, I cast the Hatchery Spider for 11, popped off, got a Zoni, and then 11 more insects. So for 7 mana, I got 19 power and 13 bodies.
Yeah, that is tough to deal with for sure.
Yeah, no, my opponent was just like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess my Galta isn't good enough."
That's fair.
This card won me 2 different games. Basically, every time I cast this card, I win.
Well, it is a fireball, right?
It is an undergrowth fireball.
Right, there you go. Undergrowth fireball.
One of the games I cast it, and it did 14 damage.
That's pretty reasonable.
Which is it's pretty good health chunk. And then a different game.
For something that leaves a 6/5 behind, it's okay.
Yeah. And then a different game, I played him, and then my opponent's like, "How many cards are in your, or how many creatures are in there?" And I counted them up. I was like, "Oh, 22." He's like, "Cool. So the rest of the time when you hit me was completely irrelevant." And I'm just like, "Yeah." So the giant is an insane fireball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This card. This is a card that I originally didn't have in my I think you should consider it list.
Mm-hmm.
But it might be good enough.
Yes.
So Torgar, Famine Incarnate it's kind of got a weird casting cost and an even weirder ability. So you can sacrifice creatures to make it 2 generic mana less. So you can get it all the way down to a 2 black for a 7/6 pretty easily.
Yep.
But then it sets somebody's life total equal to 10 generally in a heads-up game of Magic.
Not only that, but it's up to 1 player.
Oh.
So
I
I
did not catch that. So you could hit nobody if you want.
correct. I didn't catch it the other day until I cast. I'm like, well, you're at 6. I guess I'll go to 10. And then my opponent's like, why?
Or
I'm
nobody
like,
has to.
I was like, what do you mean why? He goes, read the card. Read it carefully. So I read it. I'm like, and I got all excited. I'm like, okay, never mind, never mind. I just cast a 7/6.
Yeah,
And
I think it's pretty good. I did not realize it was up to. That's pretty
yeah.
sweet. Usually when
So
I cast it though, I have to use it to gain my own life back, but it's okay.
one of the games that I played, I cast this on turn 3 because it was turn 1 Llanowar, turn 2 Stitcher Suppliers, and another Llanowar.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And then turn 3, I tap 3 mana and an elf and sacrifice the tap elf and the Stitcher Supplier to make him cost 4 to make this guy cost 4 less, and then put them at 10. And the next turn I played Galta, and they're like, you know what, we're we'll finish this game up. I played the spore thing, the glow
Oh,
spore shaman.
yeah.
Yeah, I played that, and then I played Galta, and they're like, you know what, we're good here. This is a good game.
Seems like a fair
So
game of magical gatherings.
yeah, this is a fair game. Bye. Uh, like early game, this card is absolutely insane. Just a turn 3 half your opponent. Late game, feed it to the troll.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
Molder Hulk.
yep. Go ahead. Tell me your thoughts.
So it brings a land card to your battlefield from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It also can cast as low as 2 mana, which is pretty good
Mm-hmm.
for a 6/6. Um, I'm probably not a fan of this card. In general, I think it's
All right.
fine, but I think when we talk about the card that should be in this deck that's not, you're going to agree with me.
Okay. Uh, so the reason I have it in here is because I can get it out incredibly early, and with the supplier and the shaman,
Yeah, this is
most of the
easily a 3 mana 6/6 for you.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, it is. It makes a lot of sense to be in here. But again, once I think there's one card in particular I'm going to mention, you're going to like, oh, I get what you mean now.
yeah.
I think you're gonna feel me, and I think this is
Like
the card that takes that slot.
yeah, because it's definitely like it's a 3 mana 6/6 that then ramps most
Yeah,
of the time.
right. I said
Uh,
I think it's probably okay.
mhm.
Like you said, it's definitely a value card because it's really hard to deal with like a 3 mana, get a mana, and deal with the body. But
Also, here's a 6/6.
right, exactly, and it makes Galta cost like way less mana.
It cuts Galta's cost in half.
Yeah. So, and then there's 2 Galtas. We got one Path of Discovery, which is a card I've grown to like thanks to my playing on Arena,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not sure it's the 100% the right card that you're looking for in this deck. But I could be wrong because it does let
So
every character put something in the graveyard, so it makes a lot of
right.
sense there. But again, when we talk about this next card, I think things might look a little different.
So with the Path of Discovery, when you cast Izoni, you get that first trigger, right? And if it's a permanent, you're just like, nah, leave that there. And then you have X amount of tutus. So that's just kind of like, all right, cool, play your chain whirler. What do you like? It was already hard enough to deal with X amount of 1/1s, but now they're tutus, and it's just even more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I understand and I like the idea behind it. I'm just not 100% sure it's going to hold up power wise after a few of these cards go through.
Yeah.
So,
And then Sideboard is pretty easy.
Yeah, duresses, more kill a guy. This card I really like, the Harpooner.
Yep.
Shoot a guy out of the sky, get the 3/2. Like, I feel like it's really good. Brontodon does a lot of work. It comes down. Grows a pelt collector, which you don't have, both sides generally. Ritualist suits your wrath. The Forgers gives you some life gain that you didn't have before. I should switch this over. Status statue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty strong. It's particularly strong if your creatures have first strike, which yours don't, but you don't care if they trade. You just want them to kill. And then find finality, kind of the same thing. Like it regrows something out of your hand, but then like you get to put a bunch of. It's like a pseudo wrath, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of your guys.
One of my things get bigger than kills everything else. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's hopefully going to. A lot of your guys are already big enough to live through it. Galta, Molder Hoax, Togar, the Giant, the Spider, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty straightforward, and I don't think that's. I don't think your cards are badly chosen for the sideboard.
Yeah. Well, and even the big side of statue, it's destroy target, not land or planeswalker.
Right. And obviously Assassin's trophies would be ideal, I assume.
Yeah, but I opened 2 boxes and didn't get a single one.
Yeah, I haven't got one yet either. So here's the card that got me. I was playing on Arena, obviously. I was working on my Boros now Jeskai control list because unfortunately Rails Elric had to replace Chandra because we had to let Chandra rotate for whatever stupid reason. And I'm experimenting with it. And my deck, I feel like, was, in my opinion, the best value deck in the format. And then I ran into basically this deck.
Yeah.
And the one card that took this thing from I was going to win, like even with all the shenanigans they were pulling, and we were going to have to go to mill, I was still going to beat them, was the Eldest Reborn. So the
enchantment thing?
The enchantment, the saga. So the one thing to keep in mind for this deck in particular is sagas are still a thing. So the Eldest Reborn comes into play. Target opponent sacrifices a creature or a planeswalker. 2, each opponent discards a card. Then 3, you regrow a creature or a planeswalker to the graveyard from anybody's graveyard.
Right.
So what was happening was guy would come down, Eldest Reborn my whatever, make me discard a card, regrow one of my planeswalkers or whatever, sacrifice off his Find Broker, or just run it out there. Regrow Eldest Reborn, and start the chain all over again. And I was in a position where I was getting outvalued to the point where I think I had gained like 78 life or something. Like I was at 100 and something life. And I was still going to lose to this deck.
Yep.
Because that particular Eldest Reborn plus the Find Broker combo, I think, is the value town that puts this deck over the top in the long, grindy matches. You still might lose to the red aggro deck. That just is.
But that's what the Foragers are for.
Correct. But I think adding some number of Eldest Reborns is correct. Probably 3, and I would start with those Molder Hulks because they're just they tip the balance so far in your favor, it's ridiculous. And then, not to like go too deep down the hole, Rite of Bizenlock, I think that's how you say it. Step 1
or whatever, yeah.
Step 1 and step 2 for 4 mana, you make 2 0/1 clerics. So that's like food for all of your guys for days, basically. So
it's food for
the troll. It's food for the troll.
No,
food for the Onzi.
It's not food for the troll.
I thought it was
exile a card from a graveyard. or
I thought
discard a
okay. I thought it
creature.
was also just kill a guy, but I guess not. So food for Onzi, whatever his name is. Food for your legend.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, all right, food for 2. But then at 3, you're making a 6/6 flyer, which while your deck is probably going to just win at that point, putting in your 1 flying creature is probably still pretty good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the other big one that you could put in here would be the Song of Freyles.
Ramp even more.
Ramp even more, but more importantly, that 3rd tier trigger gives indestructible, trample, vigilance, I think.
Trample.
Yeah.
All right.
So, again, these sagas plus this stupid Fine Broker. It's so,
Yeah.
like I said, and because the way the 2 cards interact, especially the Eldest Reborn and the Fine Broker, you just like, okay, you kill my Fine Broker off, sweet. Eldest Reborn, boom, 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 get it back, sacrifice. Hey, look at there, my Fine Broker that I brought back with my Eldest Reborn found my Eldest Reborn, yay! It was really gross. It was really gross, and it was the thing that finally kind of like got over. Of course, like Mending is good. I saw a couple of versions of a deck of a similar nature that was splashing green for Mudratha. Or sorry, not green, blue for Mudratha. I think that card is probably also pretty good in that top slot, although you're playing Galta, which I feel is probably equally good. It just depends on how much value town you want to kind of go. And the green splash, I think, is okay, right? It's not good, though, because you don't get the Simic land yet. You don't get the... Oh, you do have an...
Got the Hinterland Harbor.
You got Hinterland Harbor, and you've got the Watery Grave.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have 2
and
lands.
the Drowned Catacomb.
And the Drowned... So you could splash it if you wanted to, I think, easy enough.
Yeah, but I'm just going to stop you right there. The only way I'm playing Muldrotha is if I have Narcomoeba and Desecrated Tomb.
So I think Desecrated Tomb is probably going to gain value now. And I think it definitely goes with your troll. Like, I think they're kind of made to go together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that you need to do it. I saw Madratha do some sick stuff. Again, coupled with the sagas, coupled with like the Finder bringing stuff back. The guy that I only said the game that I was like at 100 some life. The guy eventually 1000-eyed me for 25 1/1s, I think. And I still thought I was going to win. But then he like sacrificed his guy and then brought it back with a Eldest Reborn for like another 26 guys. So then he at the time when I looked at it and I thought I was still going to win, I had 20 or he had 8 cards left in his deck. And I went, okay, this is fine. I'll still I'll draw a Wrath and it'll be fine. Well, I didn't draw a Wrath and I didn't gain a ton of life, and I couldn't quite get enough mana to fireball him out. When Arena reset, I lost the... What's the artifact that lets you look at the top one, and then when there's 5 different cards, or you draw, but then you hide?
Azor's Gateway.
Yeah, when I lost that, I lost Azor's Gateway. Without Azor's Gateway, I can't really reliably Banefire for lethal as easy as it was before. So I'm gonna have to continue to fiddle with this deck now post reset. But yeah, I think those are the cards that particularly to look at are the sagas, and especially the Eldest Reborn. It is insane. I guess also you could look at Phyrexian Scriptures too, right? Like you make 2 things into an artifact creature. Now you make 1 thing into an artifact creature, and then you Wrath. And then you empty their yard for the mirror match. It depends on how much mirror you think is going to be around, I guess.
I doubt much.
I don't know. These cards are so good. And again, once you start putting in, I don't want to light that up yet. Once you start factoring the availability increase of Assassin's Trophy, as more cards are opened with like drafts or whatever, the price will have to come down a little bit. People are just going to be drawn into green black because of Assassin's Trophy. It is such an over the top card. I mean, it's one of the cards that kind of took me off of the red white control list. Because like I dropped a Karn on turn 4, and the guy was like, "Sure," and upticked it, and he like Assassin's Trophy me. I'm like, okay, get a land. Karn resolves. He gives me a Karn. I play it. He Assassin's Trophies me in response to ticking up. I'm like, okay. I go get like another Planeswalker. At this point, he's accelerated me like 2 lands, right? So I have like 7 or 8 mana at this point.
Yeah.
And the guy still just turns around and Assassin's Trophies me again a third time. I'm like, whatever, you win the game. I'm done. I'm over this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was heartbreaking to play against that card when you're spending, like I said, I probably did 8 plus 5 is 13. I put at least 13 mana, and he spent 6 mana to kill it. And that's not even counting me attempting to disrupt his game plan at all. Him doing anything, he just killed every one of my things with Assassin's Trophy. I was like, no, I'm good. It wouldn't have been as tough for me for whatever reason had it been like all for the exile card, Vraska's Contempt.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the fact that it was like these Assassin's Trophies, and I knew that he still had more removal up and more stuff to do. Just like, no, okay, we're good. I'm going home. I'll take this ball, and we're not going to play anymore. So, yeah, Assassin's Trophies, too good.
You to bring your own ball. I'm going home with mine.
That's right. Speaking of Assassin's Trophies, too good, Nathan has sent us a deck list. I think this is basically what he's planning on playing tomorrow for the first PPTQ of his season run. And this thing, he went back and forth, or I guess he and I went back and forth on it a lot. And he decided to go ahead and splash for 3 Assassin's Trophies. And I'm not 100% sure I agree with the exact numbers, but I think I have a hard time arguing with his logic. And in the void, when we get a couple of results, it'll be a little bit easier. So Dauntless Bodyguard is at 2-1 for 1. Pelt Collector is the key to the deck, really. Kind of makes everything go. Knight of Grace, Jade Light Rangers. This is a card that I think is about to take off again in Standard. I think it's good. It's better than it has ever been before, and I think it was fine before. 3 Knights of Autumn. This card is like the utility Swiss Army knife of the future. Travis just flipped the camera off a whole bunch of times, so apparently Travis has had a lot of fun with the Knight of Autumn. Thrashing Brontodons, Beast Whisperers. This card I think is a lot of really gross potential. It's got that awesome line of text on it for green that says whenever you cast a creature, draw a card. No Hide Ferox. Again, I think this card is surprisingly good. I mean, it shouldn't be surprising. Like on paper, it looks really tight. But then at the same time, it also looks terrible. So I can't decide how much I like it. Do you have feelings on this guy in particular, Travis?
I was playing against someone who had a mono green stompy list with 4 of those in it. And I got to tell you, it just loses to Stitcher Supplier.
Okay, it's fair.
Every time you're like, I attack. You're like, cool, here's a Stitcher supplier. What? My Motor Hulk just cost 4 less. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I mean the Nullhide Ferox. I think the fact that it's a 6/6 for 4,
hmm
also hexproof, really kind of like gives it some playability. I also have the feeling that.
Also,
Oh, go ahead.
also,
There's more text to it, but the rest of the text really doesn't matter that much.
I mean, you can get it for free.
You can get it for free.
Yeah, if like your opponent has some sort of each player discards a card.
That's true.
You choose to discard the thing, and then you get a 6/6 that's hexproof.
That's true. I mean, it does have some extra value too, but I think the fact that it is a undercosted, hard to deal with abyss is probably the reason why this card is in this deck. Like, because so many people are dealing with like Assassin's Trophies or whatever. And if you make them spend 4 mana to cast their Assassin's Trophy, you're like, all right, well, Nullhide Hawks or Nullhide Ferox, you did your job.
Right.
You know?
Thanks, Beast. You caused my opponent to pay 4 mana so they could rampant growth me.
Exactly. You did your job.
That's what that reads.
So I mean, it's a card that I think has got a lot of really interesting potential. Is it the right card this weekend? I don't know. My concern is that there's going to be like a whole bunch of people who had the Taking Turns deck. It's just going to be even more Taking Turns decks, and then people trying to play various green beatdown strategies. Or the people who are like, all right, well, this is what it's going to be, so I'm going to be the Boros deck that just goes under the green decks and the Taking Turns deck. Just try to be faster.
And that's why I have the Foragers.
And I think the Foragers are really solid. Let's see. So then we have some Shaylays. We have one Lyra in the main. We have 2 Ajanis. This guy I really, really like. The more I've been playing with him online, the more I like Ajane, Adversary of Tyrants. He's not the best Ajane by far, but I think he may have the best ult of any Ajane.
Oh, yeah. He does what white do. Makes dudes.
He does, but he does it forever, and they're lifelinking dudes.
Yeah.
And you can't get rid of the emblem that does that. The problem is that he does win the game slowly.
Yeah, so, but
I mean,
his ult wins the game slowly.
Correct. So I don't know. It is close, but I do really like Ajani Adversary Tyrants a lot. 3 Assassin's Trophies, 4 Histories, and then some lands / utility lands. I'm pretty happy. I don't think this is the current sideboard plan, but it's 1 Solid Gravestone, the 4th Assassin's Trophy, a cast down, 2 Sealaways, Deathgorge Scavenger, Make a Stand, Ixalan's Bindings, a Settle, another Lyra, a Vivian Reed, and a Vraska. So most of these cards I think are correct. My concern is, again, I lost to the quote-unquote value deck that you presented with the changes that we kind of talked about with the Eldest Reborn so badly.
Yeah.
That I would be willing to go overboard on dealing with 2 things. Graveyards and Graveyard Hate and Enter the Battlefield triggers.
Yep.
Which I think now's as good a time to bring back a card that I don't think very many people remember existed. There's that 1/3 from Ixalan that says creatures enter the battlefield do not have their come into battlefield triggers activate, or however it's worded. It's
that
like
stupid dinosaur.
It's not a dinosaur. It's a
the
soldier. It's a soldier. But it's a 1/3 white creature for 1 white and 1 colorless. I have been playing it in my blue white auras deck back last standard. I played it and it got so much value. People don't know how to deal with it. They don't want to spend a real removal card on a really bad creature like a 1/3. But when they look at it and you're like, there you go. Oh, I'm going to play this J-Light Ranger and you're like, nope. Or, okay, fine. I'm going to cast a Night of Autumn. Nope. They kind of look at their stuff and they go, oh my, I don't know what to do with it. So I think that card is going to be a key answer in the coming couple of weeks. I don't think it's going to be good this week. Well, let me take it back. I think it'll be really good this week for the people who notice, the people who think about it. However, I think next week it's going to be a really great card. People are gonna look for some sort of answer because I think you're gonna have so many Into the Battlefield guys that you have to come up with something, and I think that's one of the answers. Otherwise, Silent Gravestone is fine. I think that the Phyrexian Sculptures is better. Scriptures is better. Because it hits the whole graveyard and you kind of get a lot of extra value out of it, but you can't do it right away. So, like, it gives people like you an opportunity to hide something back in their hand. So just have to play it by ear. But the card that Nathan pulled out that I think is undervalued and really well placed right now is the Death Gorge Scavenger. How do you feel about this card against your deck? Do you care at all, or?
Against my deck, I do care because it hurts my graveyard, but also gains some life.
It does both of those things and turns the creature into a 4/3 attacker.
Yeah. Like them attacking me doesn't really bother me because.
Well, also it's only 4/3 against you when they get a non-creature card. When it hits a creature card, they gain 2 life. So it's really not going to be a 4/3 against you very often.
Right. Considering I only have one non-creature in my deck.
Yeah, currently.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. It still sucks when they're like, I'm going to eat that. I'm like, but I wanted it. And they're like, no.
And I gained 2 life.
Yeah. But, as long as I can hurt them before they, keep attacking me, it'll be fine.
Right.
Like, force them to block.
Yeah, if you can force them to trade this thing off early enough, I think it'll be okay. But I think Nathan is correct that this card is also, again, back in a good manner. It was a really high card for a while, but then people kind of moved off of it, and now I think it's well positioned to come back. I think a lot of these cards that were kind of on the verge of being good before are now actually good again.
Thanks for rotating, Oppressive Set.
The last deck we have today is quote-unquote mono green by our good friend Hunter. It's pretty simple. It's Pelt Collectors, Llanowar Elves, Thorn Lieutenant, Stillleaf Champion, Brontodons, another set of the Null Hides, Shaylays, Vinemares, and Galtas. Like, it's pretty boilerplate. Quote unquote mono green, splashing for Assassin's Trophy, splashing for Shyla, Shahai. Shalom.
It's pronounced Shillelagh.
Shillelagh.
And it is a vital part of, I don't give a crap. Whatever.
Of green decks. I really like this angel a lot in particular. The ability, because the big wrath right now is the Exile Wrath.
Mm-hmm.
But that hits a target player, exiles all attacking creatures or whatever.
Right.
And she gives you hexproof.
Yeah. So I was actually playing against somebody who I knew he was like, I know his deck. He hasn't changed it at all. And it plays the 4 settles. So every time I was just like, and I know his deck is slower, so like I'll attack with my glow spore, and like it got him down to I hit him with like 4 or 5 turns until finally he was like, I hate that you're making me settle that one creature. I was like, I mean, you're not gonna get anything else. And like the whole time I had the Lich in play, so I was just digging for my one creature.
Right. Yeah, I think this angel in particular is really well situated right now because of settle. There's some other cards obviously that make it really helpful also, but it just feels so bad when you can't deal with it.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I've been playing a lot of the mono red aggro deck. Um, I think they probably have a version of it on Goldfish. Yeah, the mono red aggro. It's kind of like what we were doing at the end of last season with the black red kind of situation with the firebrands, the lava runners. The addition of the runaway steam can I think is really good. The pyromancers. I'm not running goblin chain whirlers. I'm running 2 of the war bosses because I still have a fondness in my heart for Rabble Master.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I'm running those. And shocks, lightning strikes, wrist factor, wizard lightnings, flame of Keld. I mean, it's basically what we played last season, except not splashing black for what do we have? We had that you lose 3 life, I gain 3 life card,
Yeah.
and something else that was black,
The
like
the the creeping death.
sword point diplomacy, maybe.
Oh yeah.
That was our risk factor. So,
Yeah, but now you get like this upside risk factor.
oh man, so good.
Like,
I'm on board. It's instant speed. Like you get to cast it twice.
yeah. And if you're already playing, I mean, even if you're not playing a control deck, you're playing a burn deck with it, they're like, no, you got to draw a card. Like, it's the point. It is what Browbeat wanted to be all these years.
Yeah, it is the new browbeat for sure. And what's the thing I love about this new card the most is that when people saw this card, I don't think you're still off Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So
Like, okay,
Travis,
so when I got my new phone, it said, "Would you like to sync everything up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay. That'll make things so much easier." Um, it synced up my Facebook because that's part of that's on my
right?
uh email account. It synced it up and started it. And then my sister was like, "Did you turn your Facebook back on?" I'm like, "What? No." So it was like Facebook was a pre-downloaded app on my phone and it just turned it on. And I'm like, okay. So I just went in there and shut off my Facebook again.
Okay. So the reason I bring it up is because Travis and I belong to this hidden group for our local area Magic players, where people get a little snippy with each other. And when this card was spoiled, they immediately started tearing into me about this card because I was the guy who played Browbeats. Not only did I play Browbeats, but I played like a lot of Browbeats because I
Oh
love
yeah.
Browbeat. There's nothing I like more than casting like the same Browbeat like 6 times out of my graveyard or whatever.
Right.
So as soon as they saw this, they're like, well, now he doesn't have to do extra tricks to be able to cast it out of his graveyard. And I
All he has
was
to do is
just,
discard a land that he doesn't need.
yeah, I was just like, yeah. So that being said, I have to exactly look, but I think I have a pre-release stamped um, uh, this card. Now I can't even think of what it's called.
Risk
Because I
factor.
keep risk factor. I keep wanting to call it Browbeat now. Browbeat 2.0, better in
Can we
every
just
way.
can we just call it fast beat?
Fast beat, new beat, something. But like, so I got one of those foil pre-release stamped, and I now have 3 pre-release stamped war bosses. So I need 3 more of the one and 1 more of the other. And I don't know what else I'm doing for the rest of the season, but I'm casting red spells.
Look, I didn't play any of the pre-releases because I was at work, and I figure I'm already buying 2 boxes. I don't need to do pre-releases, especially since it's never value.
Oh, you have one.
It is not stamped,
Oh,
but
never
it
mind.
is nice and shiny for you.
That's pretty sexy. But yeah, I need to
I
get a
can try
stamped
and
one.
see if anyone in my area has a stamped one.
If you have a stamped one, I would be interested. Um, I said I'm looking for stamped of both of them. So I usually am not in for foils, but I want to punish people with these cards in particular.
Oh yeah.
Because I think these are cards or basis of cards that I love. You know, like these are some of my favorite, in the vein of some of my favorite cards of Magic history, and the fact that they're all here together. If they reprint Goblin Dark Dwellers as a board as a the green red, what's the green red set next set? Like,
Gruel.
yeah, there you go. I want to say Grawl, but I couldn't. I knew that was wrong. But if they reprint it as a Gruel card, I will windmill slam this format. Just like, it'd be so fun. Otherwise, my pre-releases, I did a Is It for my first one, went 2-2. I lost to our shop's Wendell. That's how bad it was. Yeah, that face that Travis is making right now, I got to put this on camera. That is exactly my face, too.
What happened to Wendell?
Other than he's a worse Magic player than me?
Well, you said our shop's Wendell.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I feel like every shop has a Wendell.
Yeah, but like,
so our
okay, so you're just saying is Wendell.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Our shop's Wendell.
I'm fine now.
But every shop has a Wendell. I lost to ours, is what I'm trying to say.
Got it. Idiot.
So I had 14 creatures in my deck. He dealt with 2 of them with counter spells, so I had 12 creatures left in my deck. I never found another creature.
Oh, nice.
We went to like turn 20 or something. Like, I think I was counting cards left in my deck, and I'm pretty sure I had 12 cards, and it was 12 creatures left. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
He couldn't kill me, but I couldn't find a creature to kill him.
Right.
It was absolutely disgusting. So yeah.
Just
and then,
the way Garfield intended.
Probably. So then the second one, I took Boros because I was tired of getting my face shoved in by people playing aggressive decks. So instead, I made the most aggressive deck that I could find, and I stomped that one. I took that down. I broke my never ever take first place at a pre-release ever streak, and I took it. And then Sunday we went back, and I didn't care. I just walked in. I said, Johnny, give me whichever one we had the most of. I don't even care. And he blind handed me one. I blind walked down. And blind started opening packs. It was Celestia. A lot of the same cards that I had from my Boros deck were in my bonus pack. So I ended up with a very aggressive Naya deck and just borrowed that one too. So I went back to back, take down first position on the on pre-releases, and it felt great. So now I'll probably never win another pre-release again.
Right. Well, at least not for another few years.
Yeah, exactly.
So have you drafted in paper yet?
I drafted Friday. Like I said, I think we had like 17 some people.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Six.
yeah, that's right. Uh, I am going to send you my deck list that I drafted,
Okay.
and then you can hate me, okay?
Okay.
My screen's going to be blank, so just go ahead and fill something.
Okay. So I ended up drafting Demir this week. Like I first picked a watery grave. I wasn't real pleased when my pack was soft. I got past like third pick the new Snapcaster spell, which I can't think of what it's called off the top of my head. And then like somewhere around pick um somewhere early, I got past another on color mythic. Wow.
Yep.
This is not this is not a draft deck.
Yep.
How did you draft this?
Uh, so
You cheated.
pack one, pick one was a pelt collector. The person to pack one, pick two was a charnel troll. And I looked at the guy. He's like, I got a foil rare, and I'm like, okay. So I picked
Shrug.
it. Yeah. Pick three was Izoni. I was like, okay. At first, I was just gonna go aggressive, get that charnel troll, hope to just, hope to ignore it. But then Izoni, I'm like, nope, I'm feeding my yard so hard this draft. Uh,
So for
then the
those of
rest
you
of the
who
packs,
I'll try to get this picture up on the show notes. But for those of you who don't know, basically Travis drafted a 40 card version of his regular deck.
yeah,
Like he's got
it is
some worse
like,
cards in here, like burglar rats, um, and some sort of 3 mana guy. I can't really tell. He's got three of these.
oh, okay, so that dude
Some
is
trooper.
yeah, so it costs a colorless, a black, and a green. It's a 2/2. You discard a creature card, it becomes a 4/4 with trample till end of turn.
Oh, that seems fair.
Yeah, but you can only do it once per turn. Uh,
Let's see. Then we've got just one fine broker, two
mhm.
Oni, two siege worms, the Molder Hoke, and a airborne. That's the
That's the
like
hexproof
convoke.
convoke guy.
Yeah, convoke this
Yeah.
5. Let's see. To continue to make you jealous, prey upon two severed strands, which I think is pretty good. At least in this deck, it's really strong.
Yeah.
Uh, the vapors, the -1/-1, surveil 2. Um, Ritualist suit, which I'm not 100% sure what that one is.
Destroy all creatures CMC 3 or
Oh,
less.
that'd be why. It's the Wrath.
And I feel like you're about to name my pack 3 pick 1 card.
I'm not. I'm going to pick this Go Find Two Gates card.
Okay.
Son of a bitch. A flower, flourish. Then also a plaza and a guild gate. So like
Mm-hmm.
mana was really good to support this Vraska.
Yes. So much.
I
Like
thought I had won my draft. Right? So my draft was Watery Gate, the new Snapcaster, the new Gaunty, the 4/3 Flash Bounce Guy Mythic. Um I think I had two other playable rares in red black.
uh-huh.
Still think I lost now.
Yeah.
Mine was insane. This is
Mm-hmm.
somehow better. Do people not know how to draft anywhere?
So one of the one of the people at my draft table, all he does is play limited. That's all he does. And he's
Apparently
he's
not.
like, well, he's like the probably the top three of the drafters in our area. I'm one of the top three because that's what I prefer to do. But like, he was on the far side of the table from me. So it's
Okay.
like he didn't see any black green coming his way, so he just stayed away from it. And I assume that's what the other people, like the three people, two people to my left also did, because he was third from my left. So, he's not seeing any good black or green things.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, like so pack two, I opened the Ritual of Soot, and I was like, okay. And then I got past Izoni, and it was from that person who's like, you know, the third, like in the top three. And he's just like, I asked, I was like, after we got done drafting, I was like, why did you pass this? He goes, I'm an Is It, man. And I'm
Right.
like,
It's
do you know
better.
what this card says?
It's better to. It's almost always better for you as the individual drafter to play nice and have everyone at the table have good decks than try to
Yeah,
cut and then nobody at the table has good decks. It
right.
it statistically works out in your favor that way, but sometimes you have to cut a hard like but you were signaling probably not that easily to him.
Right.
So I could give him some credit there. But the guy next, like the guy between you two, should have figured it out.
Yeah, the
Like
two
one of
people
those
between us
guys.
should have figured it out.
Yeah, one of those two people should have went, whoa, this shouldn't have gone. This needs to not happen.
Yeah. But yeah, then pack three, I opened up Vraska, and I was just like, the streak continues, and I just like I said it loudly, and like the other person who drafts with me constantly, he's like, "Damn it, Travis, did you open another Planeswalker week one?" I was like, "Yeah, I did."
That's crazy.
So so yeah, like for the past six sets, I think since have I been here since Innistrad?
No, you were here for Innistrad.
I was there for Shadows over Innistrad.
I think so. I could be wrong. I feel like I remember you being here for that.
Wait, okay, so what was the past order? Because it was no, I was here because that's where Nahiri was.
Okay, if you say
Eldritch Moon is
so.
where Eldritch Moon was where Nahiri was. Uh, and we drafted when the new set comes out. We draft it probably 3 weeks in a row
Right.
before we're like, bored. Let's do something else. Um, so the only reason I remember that is because ever since then, the first week of every set, I open a Planeswalker. Uh, the Shadows one, it just happened that I opened Nahiri 3 weeks in a row.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I was like, I did it, Tony, and he's like, God damn it, Travis, and he starts, and then he saw which one it was, and how I had six on color rares, and he was just like, Yep, cool. And then we met in the finals, and we decided to draw because we were like, Nah, let's go get food.
So let's see. We're about out of time for today's show, but I do want to mention something to you, kind of in relation to opening like a bomb thing many weeks in a row. We talked about somebody else opening bomb stuff many weeks in a row in the recent past, but I had an incident. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, but it's in the last couple of weeks. I opened the 4 mana white guy that when he attacks, you make 2/1/1s.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my next pack, I opened a mythic, or not a mythic. I opened a foil version of him.
Okay.
Right. So I was like, yeah, my deck is unstoppable. So I sat down and played, and I played a friend of mine, the Riley, been on the show, right? Friend of the show, played Riley.
Who?
Riley Gent.
Oh, Riley. I thought you said Briley. I'm like, who's that?
No, Riley. So we started
Okay.
playing, and Riley had I knew that Riley had the Flash dragon.
Uh-huh.
I can't think of its name now, but I knew he had it. So I was kind of trying to like play to protect it and do some stuff, but I lost game one to it. Right? Like it got to the point where I needed to attack to kill him. And I had played the not foil one. I played the regular version against him. And then the next game, I played the foil version. And I thought there he would notice that I had two versions. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't. He just went, okay, well you got your bomb again. And then he milled me. And like out of those mill cards I flipped over was one of them. He goes, "Oh, you have two." I was like, "Yeah, I have two." And I ended up winning that game. And we go to game 3, and believe it or not, thanks to my double of that same card again, I was able to win. Right?
Yeah, shocking.
Shocking. Surprise, surprise. Out of when you draw, a bunch of cards, you get a double. So I moved on, and I expected he went and told his father and everybody else that I had two of these cards. Well, apparently he didn't. So I met his father in the finals. And his dad and I were playing, and his dad dealt with the first copy, and then I flipped over and started playing my foil copy. And he's like, "Oh, you have two?" And the way he said it made me like question his tone or whatever. And then, I locked down that match or whatever. And then a couple of times later, as the night goes by, I hear him talk about me having double of a bomb rare, like to other people. And it starts making me go, man, is he complaining to people that I got lucky and opened a double of a bomb rare? Like, am I being accused of something by a friend of mine who knows I would never cheat like that in 1,000 years? Like, I would rather lose.
Right.
So, when you open crazy stuff like that, what is your policy to make sure that people, because my reputation means a lot to me, especially when I'm playing at the arena, because it's my job, right? To make sure that the events fire and there's plenty of people and people have a good time and stuff like that. So, and acting as a judge and being impartial and so on and so forth. So, do you do anything special? Like when something like that happens to you, especially after like this, your draft last night?
Yeah. So basically, we're competitive, but we're openly casual about it.
Sure.
Like we don't show like, oh, I'm gonna hide my deck. You can't see what I'm doing. We're like, dude, check out what I did. And basically, when I draft, all I do is I bring my draft kit, which is just 15 of each basic land, and I might bring trade cards if someone's like, "Hey, I need this. Do you have it?" I might do that. Generally, when I draft, all I do is I bring my 15 basic lands, and he knows that that's all I bring.
Right.
Uh, so and usually after I'm done, after we select our stuff, I was like, dude, you got to check out what I did. And, we all just kind of like look at everything and, we're all just like, wow, that's effing stupid or that's sweet. And, it's just like, or, in my case, most people are like, Travis, why are you trying to hurt us by playing 5 colors again?
Mm.
And, just stuff like that, so we're all incredibly open about look at what I did
Right.
because that's just kind of how the community here is. It's just I did this. Can you beat it? Well, hope you don't have to play me then.
So for my situation, I've done this for years. I have a draft kit. Like you
Yeah.
said, I probably was the one who gave you the kind of thinking, but I keep, a bunch of each of the lands, basic lands, sleeved up.
Mm-hmm.
They stay at the arena. They stay near where my stuff goes when I leave.
Yeah.
And I like to stand when I build. So I go over near where I keep my kit stored and I build. People come up, they ask me questions, they do whatever they need to. I don't care. They can look at this stuff if they want to. If you don't come over there and look at my stuff, I'm not going to tell you what's in my deck. I'm not going to like go flash you down and be like, hey man, you better be careful. I'm really going to get you today. You know, but anyone can see stuff. And I bring my kit home. I empty out all the rares. I typically get rid of all the uncommons commons before I even leave the shop.
Mm-hmm.
So like sometimes that box will have stuff in it, but it's like for the last 2 weeks, it's had Arcbound Ravengers in it. Like in my draft kit, because Nathan needed to borrow some. Like it doesn't keep like standard cards in it. So again, it was weird that made me kind of get that impression again from my friend who we've done cries for help for him on the show before, like when his medical condition was going on, you know, like we did fundraisers, we've done all sorts of stuff. And it felt really weird. And I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it yet. And I'd rather just never have it happen again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, if he's thinking it, someone who knows me, what about these new people who don't know me as well? Because the arena has picked up probably 7 new drafters in the last 4 months.
Nice.
And, well, I think it has a lot to do with the hard work of the advertising we've been doing, as well as putting out these good events with good prizes.
I haven't seen any of it on Facebook.
Man, that's really unfortunate. I'll have to do a better job of targeting you on Facebook then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's aggravating.
This is my draft kit.
Yep. That's
75 basics and 24 other sleeves, or 26, whatever.
Yeah, mine's basically the same thing, but it's that same blue double wide box that I've had forever. On one side is the same 75 lands that I've used for years, and all the tokens I've collected. And on the other side is, like you said, empty sleeves. Sometimes I forget to take my draft kit home, so it stays at the arena for another week. So sometimes I have to empty a deck before I put it in. But that doesn't happen very often. We usually don't draft the same set back to back anyway. So I don't know. I just thought it was weird, and I wanted to talk about what I thought about it, especially after such an amazing cheater pool that you clearly pre-opened and hid in your socks or something.
Right.
All right, man. Well, anything else? Any words of wisdom for people going to the PPTQs and stuff like that this first weekend, I guess? I don't want to say this last weekend, but they're changing PPTQs. We'll talk about that once we get some details.
Yeah. No, there's no words of advice.
All right. Well, everybody,
hope you don't mold the floor.
Oh, man, I want everyone to mold the floor but me.
Good luck. Hope you mold the floor.
Exactly. All right, everybody. Have a week. As always, you can follow us at Twitter. I'm at Samus Garobo. You're what? Two Trolls Pod? Currently?
Just podcast trolls. Something. I don't know.
Podcast Trolls. And I did not send out the We Are Live tweet, so I'm going to delete it. No wonder nobody's in the chat today. Also, you can send us an email to trolls at gmail.com. Is it? Oh man, see, I'm not looking at the notes. I tried to click on the notes and I didn't click on the notes. The number 2
I
trolls.
thought you just had it all memorized.
No, I don't. I need to look at the notes.
Oh, damn.
Which is why I don't know anything. Also, samusriver.com for the podcast and other things. That's it. Bye-bye.
Troll on, everybody.
Troll on, everybody.